We are live, everybody. Welcome to Mariel Talks Pop. I am super excited today because I have here with me Katie Underwood, former member of Bardot and now working as Cabell. Is that the right way to say it?
That's right. Yeah.
Cabell. So, welcome, Katie.
Thank you. Hello.
How are you? Tell us all about Cabell's music. I just heard the single. I'm amazed. I'm actually really happy because it's been so long that we don't hear music like that. I mean, nowadays music is like all about sex and different stuff, and your music is amazing. Is what we were waiting for, us pop fans.
Yeah. No, look, I think it's a beautiful return to fun, good vibes and pop music. So to give you the backstory, for those that don't know, I was 21 years ago in a band called Bardot. And we were very big in Australia and Southeast Asia. We got to travel to the UK and a few other territories. And it was fun pop back then. And our market, I suppose, at that point was more geared towards the teen market. So it was just very feel good, very happy, playful, easy to listen to music. So last year we celebrated our 20th anniversary. And so some of the girls and I from Bardot were able to reunite online. Obviously, with the pandemic, we weren't able to get together in real life, but we were able to connect and have some good conversations around it. And a wonderful collaborator of ours, Joe, was able to put together some re-releases and release new remixes of the original Bardot music. So last year was a real wonderful reminder of the positive force that music can play when it is just about, feeling good about ourselves or feeling good about friends or feeling good about dancing and really just having that up vibe about it. So this year, Belinda and I decided that we wanted to get together and continue to produce some new music. Unfortunately, the other members of the band have other commitments and they weren't able to take part, but Belinda and I were still really keen. We've always loved disco and house music and pop music. And this song, although it's called Broken Hearted, it's actually kind of a feel-good track because it's about what we do when we recover. We all have challenges in life. We all have things that can be difficult at times, but the way we get through is by connecting with our family and our friends, connecting with good music and just dancing it off. So I like that this song it's really light, it's really simple, it's not complicated. It's just that reminder that music can make us feel good, and it's as simple as that.
It's a beautiful song. I was actually training to it today, and I was actually super happy. Listening to it. It's a really cool song. For those who haven't listened to it, please do. I mean, it's now available on all digital platforms.
It is.
Can we expect a video? Because I know you guys released a lyrics video, but will there be a video of you two?
Look, for this track, probably not. Here in Melbourne, Australia, we're only just coming out of a very long 3 or 4 month lockdown. So the chance of interstate travel is still quite limited and probably will be till next year. So for this first track, that lyric video is all you're going to get. But we do have plans to record some more music. So my hope is that we'll get to do a second release, hopefully early next year. And yeah, it would be amazing for Belinda and I to get together in the same room and film a film clip. But amazingly, throughout this whole last couple of years, we've still not, the two of us, been in the same room yet. So,
Oh, really?
Really. So we've done all this promo and media and emails and recording, and through the amazing technology that we have today, everything's being done at a distance. So I'm looking forward to actually giving Belinda a real life hug when I see her. And then after that, if we can make a film clip happen for our second track, well, that would be great.
That would be awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
Thanks to the social media right now and all this technology, you guys have been able to record a song, probably not in the same room, but now it's all put together. So it's great.
Yeah, it's incredible what can be done these days. But obviously, if we were able to do it in the same studio at the same time, that would be ideal. So I'm hoping that we can do that for the second track.
Hopefully. And is there an album planned?
We're just taking it one step at a time. Both
Hmm.
Belinda and I have other businesses. She's an interior designer. I'm a massage
Yes.
therapist, meditation teacher, and musician. So we have a lot of other things going on. I'm also a mother to two 10-year-old girls. So that
Well,
keeps me busy as well. But
okay.
look, if this song goes well and if we get the second one out, then maybe we'll have the opportunity to do an album. But at this stage, we're just taking it one track at a time.
Oh, that would be great to have an album from you guys. Probably do some re-recordings from all Bardot songs.
I think we've pretty much rehashed a lot of the Bardot stuff from last year. So Belinda and I are very much looking forward. So I think we'd both like to either continue to write our own music or source other pop songs that make us feel good and just get that good vibe feeling out there.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. We hope to hear more music from you guys. And now let's get back to 21 years ago when this
Yeah.
album came out. I mean, can you believe it's been that long?
I really can't. In a way, it feels like I have a parallel life. 21 years, so much has happened to me in that time, as I'm sure it has for you.
Yes.
Um, so in some ways, it feels like a lifetime ago, and then in other ways, when I reflect back, it's almost like it happened yesterday. So, time is a funny thing.
I
But I think
know.
very fondly on those moments. We had some incredible experiences touring around with Bardot. It really was such a unique opportunity.
And do you remember the day when you auditioned?
I do. I was so nervous. And I can say now, after singing for 30 years, I've got a very good voice. But that
You
first
do.
day at the audition, no, I was so nervous and I really didn't sing that well. But I dressed the part. And I feel like that got me through the first few stages of the audition. And then once
Mm-hmm.
I settled in and relaxed into the process, then my voice was able to shine through. And I think that's what helped along the way. But that very first audition, when I think back on it, it was not good.
Well, you did it somehow good because you are here. So
Yeah, no, I must have done something right. It all came together in the end.
I think it was a very good decision to put all of you guys together, the five of you, because all of you guys have different personalities. And you were standing out because were like the rocker from the group, you can call it like that. I don't know. You had like the most different personality, you know?
Yeah, I was definitely the alternative. I think the other four girls, from my observations, were very classically beautiful and would dress in feminine clothing and very fashionable. But I was always a bit of a tomboy. I was into different kind of textures and I'd wear, reflector, raver clothes, or also my strongest influence was probably my love of science fiction movies.
Okay.
So anything kind of robotic or reflective, I always loved. So yeah, my fashion sense was a little bit wild compared to theirs, but luckily the girls enjoyed that, and they used to just tell me, you just go for it, Katie. You do you, and it was
Yes.
great. I had the chance to really play around with some fashion then.
Well, luckily they respected that because I've been speaking to other girls from other groups, and they say that their managers told them to change their whole personality, and you were able to stay the way you want it. So that's great.
Yeah, I think we were really lucky. The original brief was obviously similar to the Spice Girls in the sense that each of those individual people had their own flavor. But obviously, we didn't want to just copy what they'd done. That would have been inauthentic.
Hmm.
So the direction that we got when we joined was, we want you girls to express yourselves and to do it in a way that's true for you. But it's a bit like, turning up the brightness dial on your filter. So
Hmm.
for me, I had certain interests in fashion, and they're like, okay, but now we want you to expand that out by 1,000%. So I really got the opportunity to kind of be my own alternative Barbie doll, if you will. And it was really like that because the kind of fashion that you wear when you're a pop star is totally outrageous. I would never normally wear that sort of thing, but it really gave us all the space to play and just have fun with it. Very much like pop music. Pop music is supposed to be fun. You know, you look at other artists like Lady Gaga when she first started, and her
Yes.
costumes were outrageous and the music was kind of fluffy and weird, but fun at the same time. And to me, I think that's what pop music is supposed to be. It gives us that escape from everyday life and just leaves you feeling uplifted.
That's great. Yes, and you got to stay the way you wanted it. That's what's great. I mean, like I told you,
Absolutely.
some other girls told me no, they asked me to cut my hair and to wear certain clothes, and I wasn't able to be myself. So it's great that you stayed where you wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I don't think I could be anything other than what I am. So I'm lucky that we were supported by that in the band.
No, that's great. And now tell us about the recording of this album. What memories do you have when you listened to the songs for the first time? Did you like all the songs?
Yeah, so we had, when they were putting the project together, they'd already sourced thousands of songs from songwriters all over the country and all over the world. So when it got to us, we had a short list of, I think, about 40 or 50 songs that then we
Well,
chose our final 12 from. So even from that first instance, we were able to be really involved in crafting what our album was going to sound like and what songs we enjoyed. So of the ones that made the album, I did, you know, actively choose most of them. There were a couple on there that we weren't so keen on, but we just accepted that was part of the package. But for the most part, they were all songs that we enjoyed. As for the actual recording process, it was very fast. So we were in those first few months while we were being filmed, we were in the recording studio every day, usually from about midday right through to midnight, sometimes 1 a.m. or 2 a.m.
okay.
And, you know, we'd each be in the recording booth for a couple of hours and kind of rotate. And basically we were producing a song every day or other day. So it was very, very fast. But there was a whole team of, you know, producers and engineers behind us supporting us the whole way.
So
So,
were
yeah,
you
it was
happy with? Sorry.
no, you go.
No, were you happy with the result, even though it was recorded that fast?
Oh, absolutely. No, the people we were working with were at the top of their game. So I think they were really able to capture the best of all of our voices, and we all had a slightly different sound and a different feel. But yeah, I was really happy. And I think last year when we re-released some of the Bardot music, I was amazed how well those songs have stood up after 20 years, that they still sound you know, good quality pop. I think the quality of the production then was in a way ahead of its time, because I can listen back to some of those songs now, particularly our first release, Poison, and it's still just a great pop song. So yeah, still very
Yes.
proud of what we did back then.
Poison is amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
that song should have been bigger than it already was. I mean, you guys did it in Australia and other uh, Asian countries and even the UK, but it should have been bigger. It had everything to become a major hit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we certainly did very well in Australia. We did incredibly well in some of the Southeast Asian countries. But yeah, I think at that timing, there was a lot of other, you know, pop music being produced at the same time. So you're always at the mercy of whatever else is going on in the US or the UK, which tend to dominate even our charts here in Australia. So it is difficult as a local artist to cut through that. But I'm proud of what we achieved when we did it.
It's a great song. I mean, Poison deserve better, but well, you guys did great where you did. So, and what about the video? The video is like amazing. I love that video. You guys look so, I don't know, like futuristic.
Yeah, the production on that was incredible. So when we were creating the concept for this video, it because all five of us had very distinct personalities and fashion senses, and we really wanted to portray that, being the very first video. So it was not only just the film clip for Poison, but it was really the introduction of us to the general public and what we were about. So we had this concept of designing these cube-shaped rooms, which were, if you can imagine a cube, but with one side cut off. So these entire structures were created just for this film clip. And I remember the total film clip shoot went for 20 hours
Okay.
nonstop from start to finish.
Wow.
And yeah, so we weren't on that whole time. I think I was there for about 14 or 16 hours of the total shoot.
Mm-hmm.
They started at 6 a.m. and they were constructing the first room. And then they would start filming that room, and then they'd move across to the second room and be constructing that. And then by the time they filmed the second room, they pulled down the first one and then rebuilt. So there was sort of construction and filming happening all day. But yeah, so my room was this bright orange room, which complemented my purple latex catsuit that I got to
Yes.
wear in my little capsule. And we had a beautiful fashion designer working with us, you know, adding these extra flamboyant details. Like Sophie was this bird in a cage, and she had this beautiful feathered piece on the back of her costume. So again, it was really the opportunity to let our fashion fantasies run wild.
Yes.
But also to kind of stamp our identities on that film clip. So I think of all of the clips that we did, it was definitely the most dramatic
Mm-hmm.
from a fashion sense, and gave each of us space to really express ourselves in whatever way worked for us.
It's actually my favorite video from Bardot, and yeah, like you just mentioned, it kind of gave you like your own identity. So
Yeah.
it was great. I loved your lipstick.
The
That was
purple glossy lipstick. Yeah.
yes. I'm telling you, it looks like so futuristic. So yeah, it was
Yeah, well,
great.
that was kind of my, you know, personality. I was this cross between a futuristic sci-fi meets fetish fashion, you know, mix up. So they were the things that I was interested in at the time, and it was just so great, as I said, to play with fashion and to play with those ultra dramatic looks that you normally, you know, you wouldn't walk up the grocery store looking like
No.
that, but in a film clip, you can definitely have fun and pull it off.
That's awesome. And then came "I Should Have Never Let You Go,"
That's right.
which is also a very good pop, sweet bubblegum pop ballad song. So, did you choose the second single, or was it all by the label?
So that the second track was a song written by Tommy Farragher, who was an American producer who came over to Australia to help us produce the whole album. So that was a song that was co-written and co-produced by him. So that one was
Okay.
chosen specifically as the second single. And as far as the video for that one went, it was half animated. So it was really also the opportunity to acknowledge that a lot of our fans were quite young. You know, we had fans starting at, you know, kind of 5 to 15-year-olds. So we wanted to, you know, acknowledge and respect that fact as well. So I think the opportunity to kind of play up and have superhero versions of
Yes.
ourselves was amazing. So I remember working with there was a duo of animators who were responsible for creating that animated part of the clip. And
Hmm.
they spoke to us, they had interviews with us, got a feel for our personalities, and then we got to choose what our superpower was and what our mode of transport was. So
Oh.
for me, I wanted to have, I think, what did I have? I had laser eyes or guns or something. And then I said, I definitely, if I'm a futuristic girl, I need to have a jetpack. Like that is my mode of transport. And I think Sophie's was the chauffeur. Tiffany was driving a Jeep at the time. So her mode of transport was the monster Jeep. So, you know, it was just great. Again, an opportunity for us to kind of play up those individual parts of our persona that we were putting forward. But that was also very true for each of us in one way or the other.
Yes, it's a really cool video that you guys like. You told me you guys had fans from different ages, so it was cool to invite them to be part of Bardot in an animated way. So
No, that's right. And again, just coming back to that notion that pop music is supposed to be fun. You know,
Mhm.
you don't want to take it too seriously. But it's fun, it's entertainment, and we really had a lot of fun making that clip.
But then came These Days, which is more like a rock pop song.
Yeah.
I
Well,
feel it like that.
yeah, no, absolutely. So there was another beautiful songwriter, Phil Thornelly, who wrote These Days, and he's based out of the UK. And so there was sort of that feeling of indie pop coming in then, a bit more of a mature sound,
Mm-hmm.
And again, kind of expanding our reach into the fact that we did have an older audience as well. We had many adults and young adults that were interested in that music. So yeah, that was reflected in the film clip as well. The lyrics in these days are a bit more melancholy, a bit more reflective. So it deserved a slightly more mature approach. So, we're sitting around the moody campfire and singing. But again, it's sort of a celebration of having your friends around you, remembering that, even after dark times, we have good times.
Mm-hmm.
And that these days were those good times for us in the band.
I'm not really sure who recorded that song first, if you guys did or Jennifer Page from the US. But
Yeah, so Jennifer, that's right. She did a version of it. I think it was about just a year before we did. But I think the thing I love about that song is it's such a strong song. And if a
yes.
song lyrically is strong, then it will stand up to multiple, reversions and reinventions. So yeah, we felt that we gave the song our own flavor.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds different. I mean, you guys gave it your own style, so I like both
Yeah.
versions. But then, Katie, tell me, why did you leave Bardot?
Yeah, it was an interesting process. I remember we were over in the UK and we'd started to record our second album. And in fact, I'd already put down vocals on two of the songs, ASAP and another song, Hit and Run, which I think ended up being a B-side
Is a bit side,
on
yes.
their second album. So at that point, we'd changed management,
Mm-hmm.
and our new manager suggested to me that I audition for a musical. And at first, I didn't understand why he was suggesting that I do that. And I said, why would I audition for a musical? We're about to record our second album. Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand why he'd suggested it. And he persisted and said, no, I think this would be a good experience for you. And you should just audition and see how you go. So, he was our new manager. I was trusting his advice and I went for the audition. And then a few weeks later, I asked him, oh, have you heard back from them? No, haven't heard anything, but I think that was still good that you did that. And then bizarrely, I had a phone call from the people from the musical that called me up directly and said, so did you get the script? Did you get the video? And I said, what are you talking about? And they said, well, you got the part. Didn't your manager tell you? So it was just bizarre. So from there, it really, it was a difficult decision because I was having this then amazing opportunity to tour nationally with this, arena level musical. But I would have had to leave the band to do it. So I approached all of the girls. I let them know the decision that I was trying to make and what they thought. And at the time, two of them were supportive, the other two, not so much. So in the end, I had to just make that decision. And I decided that that was going to be the better move for me at the time. So that's what happened. But yeah, a year later, I think the girls did incredibly well with the second album. And then I started producing other music as well. And, certainly 20 years on, we're all happy that everyone survived and we all did well. And obviously, Belinda and I are still on great terms, even 21 years later. So, it's one of those things. Life throws you some challenging decisions sometimes. I felt like I'd made the right decision for me, and Bardot continued on for another year after that.
Yeah, it's a great album. Played like that, it's actually my favorite Bardot album, and I would have loved to see you there on that album. I mean,
I know. I was so jealous when they released "I Need Somebody," which is
I love that song.
it's my favorite Bardot song, and I was slightly upset. I thought, it would have been so great musically if I'd stayed for
Yes.
that. But, with any life decision, you do what you think is best at the time. It's easy to go back and reflect and go, well, I wonder what would have happened if I'd stayed. But, at the time, there were other factors influencing my decision as well. And I made the best move for me then. So, yeah.
Things happen for a reason, and after
So.
you left Bardot, you released some songs with Disco Montego. Is that
That's
how you?
right. Yeah,
Yes.
Disco Montego. Yeah, So Beautiful became a #1 hit here in Australia. It was a club
Yes.
smash. We were at number 1 for 12 weeks here in Australia. And then after that, I think it actually did very well in many other countries around the world. So it worked out really well for me. I enjoyed touring around with Disco Montego for a few years, and then eventually went solo and got some other awards for my songwriting for Danger as well. So, yeah, my early pop career was really satisfying, but then it was nice to take a break. And in the last 5 years, I've mostly produced meditation music.
Yes,
so,
I read.
yeah, that's been a total shift for me. And very much in line with my main career now, which is as a meditation teacher, massage therapist, and sound healing musician. So, yeah, by contrast now, to come full circle and come back with Cabell, it's really great to be back in that kind of good vibe pop music genre. But having said that, my meditation music is what fills my soul with joy as well. It's a different kind of joy. Pop music and dance music is fun and it's exciting. But my meditation music is what brings me the incredible peace to be able to live my life and feel content.
Yes, I didn't know about your meditation career until I read something last night, and I found out on Spotify that you have a lot of albums,
Yeah.
which I'm going to recommend to my mom who loves meditation. So I will tell
Beautiful.
her yes. And do you still in touch with the other girls, not just Belinda? I mean, are you still in touch with Sally, Tiffany, and Sophie?
Yeah, so look, Sophie, I haven't had contact with for many years. She moved over to America for a decade, so none of us
Okay.
really had any contact with her for a while. And yeah, since she's been back, she's been doing her own thing. But Sophie and I weren't that close even when we were in the band, so that's no great stretch there. Tiffany and Sally, we were in a lot of contact with in 2020 when we were talking about trying to get the Bardot reunion together.
Uh-huh.
But again, they have their own commitments with business and family. So I'm not in touch with them as much. But having said that, Tiffany did leave us a nice congratulations message on our Insta page for Cabell. So that was really sweet to hear from her.
And what is it like to be in a girl group? I mean, someone here is asking, what is it like to be in a girl group? Because it's all women. How does that work?
Yeah, look, if anyone's ever had sisters,
Hmm.
sometimes it's amazing and sometimes it's maddening. So, yeah, 5 girls together day in, day out. We had our good days, we had our bad days. But for the most part, I think it was an experience that has bonded us for life in a way. It was such a unique thing to be thrown together in this band and become basically famous in Australia overnight. And yeah, that's something that you don't forget. So I think for the most part, when we were touring around, I remember lots and lots of laughing, traveling from one appointment or one interview or one gig to the next. And we were often laughing and kidding around. But yeah, of course, we had days where we were just so sick of the sight of each other, and you'd just retreat to your room or your house and go, right, okay, I'll see you all tomorrow. And you needed to have breaks to make that work. So yeah, I think the closest comparison is it's like having sisters. Some
Yes.
days you love each other, and some days it's harder.
Not so much.
Not so much.
It's part of it. I mean, all women together. I bet it's challenging, especially when you didn't know each other and you're
Yeah.
all of the sudden like put together in a house, living like all the time together, and you become family. So
That's exactly right. And it is very much like a family bond, And I think the one thing that saved us and the one advantage of being in a girl group is that, especially when the media, sometimes would say good things about us and sometimes not. Sometimes fans were kind, sometimes they were cruel. And so when we were being affected by that emotionally, we had each other to turn to. And it was very much like a family support in that way, that when things got really stressful and really busy, we had each other on the road and we never had to feel that we were alone. So I think that's one of the big advantages to being in a group with others.
yes, you get all the support. That's
Yeah.
so. How do you manage all the bad criticism?
Oh, look, today I really don't let it affect me at all. But I mean, I haven't had a celebrity profile for a very long time. So I don't feel that I'm really open to that sort of criticism. I think people are more interested in talking about, celebrities that have that public profile.
Hmm.
I've enjoyed just having a quiet life in the last, 10 to 15 years. I have my children now. They're my
Hmm.
main job. They're my first job always.
I
And
get
then
you.
everything else, works around that. But when we first started, it was difficult. Most of the feedback that we got was really positive. So much love from our fans, and it was always a joy. But of course, there were occasionally people that would, set up websites. I mean, this was pre-social media back then. But
Hmm.
the old way of doing things is if you didn't like somebody, you would set up a hate site, like, and I never really understood that. It's like, well, if you really hate me that much, surely you've got better things to do
Yeah, why
with
are
your,
you taking your time to post
you
about
know.
me?
So it was a really strange thing. And yeah, I think back then I just learned to not read everything.
Hmm.
And, initially you want to read everything that anybody's saying about you. And then you realize that what they're saying is less about you and more about them. If
Hmm.
someone wants to hate on a celebrity, the question I would ask is, well, how you've got a lot of hate, a lot of anger. I'm sure it's not about that celebrity or that person. There must be something else going on for you
About you. Yes.
that you have all these strong feelings. So, I still try and bear that in mind if people post negative comments on YouTube or anywhere else, and just really be compassionate and think, gee, that person must be really hurting about something that
Hmm.
they feel they need to write these things online. So I guess I've learned just not to take it personally, because it very rarely is to do with me. It's more to do with that person.
Yeah, as long as you are content with
Yeah.
whatever it is you're doing, I think that's the most important thing. To
Yeah,
be
that's it.
happy with your work, with your results. I mean, if you're happy with that, whatever cares, whoever.
Absolutely.
So here we have people from Canada and Colombia. We have here Andrew from Canada who says, "Will you guys be performing in Canada some days? We would love to have you guys here."
Hi, Andrew. Look, I would love to think that we could head overseas. At the moment, our international borders are still closed. So, yeah, it's probably going to be quite some time until we get to go overseas. But at first, obviously, we'll be concentrating on Australia. But who knows what the future holds?
Yeah, it would be great. I mean, to have you here in Mexico too. I will be supporting you guys. I mean, that would be
Yeah.
great. We have Mauricio from Colombia who says, "I'd love to know who are Katie's musical influences and who inspired Bardot musically."
Oh, wonderful. Great question. And hello. So, when I grew up, my mother was a big fan of 70s disco, 80s
Hmm.
pop, and soul and R&B. So, some of my early influences were artists like Donna Summer, George Michael. Of course, we were all fans of Michael Jackson back then. Annie Lennox was probably a big influence on me from the look, not only her sound, but the way
Hmm.
that she looked. She had this incredibly fierce, short red haircut back in the day. And no doubt that played a huge influence on me from the image wise. But yeah, for me, musically, soul and disco was really what I grew up listening to. And I think that had a big influence on my sort of love of house and dance music as it is
Hmm.
now.
Yes, I can tell some of those genres in your music. I mean, are like more powerful.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Andrew says, "What are the best Bardot songs I should try listening to? And are you guys familiar with Savage Garden and Delta Goodrem? And do you like them?"
Oh, sure. All right, I'll try and answer that in pieces. So, look, my favorite songs from the second album, Play It Like That, my favorite was I Need Somebody, hands down, and I wished I had have sung on that one. From the first album, I think Poison still stands up, and my other personal favorite was Higher Than Heaven,
I
which
love
had an
that song.
almost, yeah, again, real positive message, really uplifting, almost a little bit of a gospel feel. So we used to love performing that as a live track. To your other question, Savage Garden, obviously we're a huge band here in Australia and across the world. And yeah, Darren is an incredible vocalist and songwriter. So yeah, great respect for him and the style of music that he did. And yeah, Delta Goodrem has really been our pop princess here in Australia for the last 10 years.
She's cool.
For me personally, pop's not my favorite style of music, surprisingly. I tend to either be listening to, I know it's weird, either kind of house and dance music or meditation music. But again, Delta is an incredibly talented singer and songwriter, and she has my greatest respect. And yeah, she's still hugely popular here in Australia.
She's great. Justin says, Higher Than Heaven should have been a single. I agree with that too.
I agree with you, Justin. Absolutely. It was always our favorite to perform on tour.
It was also performed by Kelly Bryan from the UK, who used to be part of Eternal.
Oh, right. I
Then,
did not know that.
yes, when she went solo, I don't know if you remember Eternal.
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah, well, when she went solo, she released Higher Than Heaven. But I gotta say, I like your version better.
Oh, thank you. I'll have to look hers up now. You've got my curiosity piqued.
Yes, Kelly Bryant. Yes. I mean,
Okay, cool.
she sounded good, but I think that you guys um, bring out the gospel in that song. I mean, you guys made it sound like you were in a church. I love that.
No, that's it. And with the five of us together, we're obviously able to do things that a solo artist, would not be able to do as well.
Yeah, it's different when it's from a group. And the same thing with these days. I mean, Jennifer Page recorded it alone and you guys did it as a group. So yeah, it's completely different.
Yeah.
And now my questions I always ask to all my guests. Who is your favorite female singer?
Oh, wow. Look, I'm going to say Pink. I think she's incredible, not only as a singer, but as a writer, as a performer, as a mother. I just hands down respect her as a human, in everything that she does. And I think she's an incredible, positive role model for women everywhere in music and beyond. So, yeah.
You have a Pink vibe too. And Mauricio says that you have a lot of Annie Lennox's vibe.
Yeah, definitely. I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you.
Yes. And who is your favorite male singer?
George Michael was always a big favorite of mine. One of my favorite songs still to date is his song As with Mary J. Blige, who's also one of my all-time favorite singers. So to have him and her together on that track still today, it brings me near to tears. I love his voice. I love that he had his history with his boy band Wham and then progressed through his own solo career. And yeah, was devastated when he passed a few years back, but still a big time favorite for me.
And says Mauricio, I also want to know, who is Katie's dream collaboration?
Ooh. There's another Australian artist, Gautier, who penned the song. Somebody I used to know. He's an incredible musician and writer. It would be a dream to collaborate with him someday. I don't know how or where that would happen. But if I could pick anyone, I think that his style of writing is really unique, and the instrumentation that he uses is really, really special. So, yeah, he'd be at the top of my list.
That would be an interesting collab.
Yeah.
And your favorite female band? No, Bardot.
Female band. You know who I love? The Pussycat Dolls.
They're amazing. They are amazing.
I love this style of music. They're so fierce and so sexy. Just off the top of my head, that's who I would choose for female bands.
And boy band.
Oh, that's a bit trickier. I'm not a huge boy band follower. Goodness me, I can't even think. I mean, back in the day, it was like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, but who is there even now? I don't even think I know a male boy band right now.
No, I mean, it doesn't have to be a nowadays boy band. I mean, I love NSYNC too, and they're not together anymore. So
yeah, look,
someone
NSYNC was pretty cool. They were good.
Yes, NSYNC is great. And now another question I always ask. If you are dropped in an island and you can only take 5 albums with you, Which
Ooh.
albums would they be?
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Definitely a George Michael compilation. I would have to have some Annie Lennox with me,
Okay.
Sting.
Yes.
Mary J. Blige, her collection, and Jill Scott. I also really love. She's kind of a soul R&B poet.
Oh,
I love all three of her albums. So if I could take those five artists with me, I'd be pretty happy.
that was fast. I mean, most of my guests always take like a whole lot of hours to think about those five
Well,
albums.
I'm sure I could think of others, but just off the top of my head, yeah, that's who I
You
think
wouldn't
will
take
with me.
Bardot's? You wouldn't take
It's
this album?
it's in my head. I don't need to take it. I can just remember.
You wouldn't take your debut album, Bardot?
No, it's in my heart. It's in my head. I
Wow.
wouldn't need to have it with me.
Okay. And your favorite Bardot song?
Higher Than Heaven.
Higher.
Yeah.
And your least favorite?
Oh, girls do, boys don't.
Okay. Any particular reason?
Oh, it was just a bit. I think it was a bit too young. It felt like the kind of song that you sing when you're 10 years old, you know. So, which is cute because many of our fans were that age. But you know, when you're in your mid-20s and you're singing a song as if you're just out of primary school, it felt a little bit awkward. So yeah, that was probably my least favorite.
Oh, and well, your other favorite from Bardot that you didn't got
I
to
Need
release,
Somebody,
I Need Some Track.
hands
Yes.
down, because it's a dance
Yes.
music track and I'm a dance music girl. So I always love that song.
Yes, that's actually you should have been in that album. I don't know why. Those decisions. I mean, I know you're happy with all that you have accomplished, but you being and playing like that, played like that, should have been great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why you and Belinda should re-record some of those songs, just to hear
Maybe.
your vocals.
Yeah, who knows? Look, anything's possible. As I said, we're just taking the Cabell project one track at a time. So who knows where it will lead us.
Well, yeah. Thank you so much, Katie. I've been having such a great time talking to you, remembering all these good old days from Bordeaux, and now your new stage as Capel. I mean, I super happy to hear your next single. If you guys haven't heard it, once again, go to all the digital platforms, search for Capel's latest single, "Broken Hearted."
That's right.
It's going to be amazing for you guys. If you like pop music as much as I do, then you're going to love it and enjoy
You
it as much
definitely
as
love it. Thank
yes.
you,
And
Marielle. And thanks to everyone who was tuning in and who put forward those questions as well. It was great to chat with you all.
let's hope we can do this again together and with Belinda too. It shall be fun. And meanwhile, all the best of luck to you guys. You
Thank
guys have a
you.
huge fan in Mexico, so
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
you too. Well, have a great
Bye.
day. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.